better place. A better place for your family, for your neighbors, and future generations, like me. We have to invest in our community if we want it to thrive for decades to come. Things like roads, transit, water services, and arenas are important to our quality of life. Besides property taxes and grants, how can you save enough to build your community? That's where One Investment comes in. We understand municipal government, and we can help put your savings to work for you. Investing in markets might sound scary, but our investment advisory services team helps you figure out what is right for your community. We help you create a diversified portfolio that meets your needs and gives you good sleeps. One Investment is about municipalities working together with a trusted advisor to get lower fees so you can earn more. No matter the size of your municipality or staff team, we do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Learn more at oneinvestment.ca.
All right, please welcome the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario.
Boy, that is so nice. See, I get at least a couple of my MPPs standing up. Raymond, it's good to see you. And, you know, Raymond had a little accident in Punta Cana, but you swam away from the sharks. So good to see you, Raymond and Daisy, and thank you. And it's just, first of all, good morning, everyone. And it's great to be back here in Ottawa with all of you for the 2025 AMO conference. And I hear her honors here, and I'm trying to spot her in the front. Your honor, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're enjoying your summer. I can't wait to come by and pay you a visit. So it's always good to see you. I want to start by thanking Mayor Robin Jones. I was just saying hello to the mayor in the back there and everyone at AMO for hosting this year's conference. And I want to thank Mayor Sutcliffe for having us here in Ottawa, and thank you, Mayor, for always being an incredible host, and you treat everyone like gold while we're here. I also want to thank all the hard-working mayors, councillors, wardens, and municipal officials across Ontario for everything you do to serve your communities. I always say you have the toughest job. It's on the front doorsteps. And I always love saying that I walked a mile in your shoes as well. And I still walk a mile in your shoes because I still get calls about potholes and dogs being run loose and everything else. And I just want to thank each and every one of you, because I do call you and say little Miss Jones is complaining about a pothole, and everyone does an incredible job helping me, and I'm very, very grateful. And for your continued partnership as we protect Ontario and build for the future. I just had a very productive meeting with the Prime Minister, Prime Minister Carney. As I mentioned, we don't... Yeah, thank you. As I mentioned to the Prime Minister, we don't know what President Trump will do. And to be very frank, I think sometimes I don't even think he knows what he's going to do from day to day. But here's what we do know. We know how to build the most competitive economy in the G7. We know we need to make life more affordable, and we know we need to reduce the cost of doing business here in Ontario and across the country. We know we need to create the conditions to attract new investments and create more jobs. We know we have to build. And folks, these are your numbers. These aren't my numbers. Direct foreign investment came in about a month ago, and for 2024, I know it was a whole different, game out there back in 2024. But each municipality contributed these numbers. 409 companies from foreign countries invested $39.875 billion, so let's round it off to $40 billion, and created 25,000 jobs in your communities. And just talking about economic development, I see Nina, you're doing a great job, and where's my buddy Vic? He's probably traveling around the world creating more jobs, but we can't do this without the support of the municipalities. And I'm very, very grateful for your support when we bring you proposals. Friends, since we met last year, the world has changed. President Trump's tariffs are taking direct aim at our country, our province, and our people. Communities across Ontario are feeling the impact, and I know workers and their families are worried. I've been clear since day one, making the case to the Trump administration and to the ordinary Americans, this is no way to treat your best customer, your number one customer, their friend, and their closest ally. These tariffs aren't just impacting Canadians, they're hurting American families and businesses. They're making life more expensive south of the border, and they're making life more uncertain for millions of workers who because a tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. And I'll tell you, I talk to them almost on a daily basis, and they know that we buy more product off the US than Japan, Korea, China, the UK, and France combined. We are an economic powerhouse in Canada, and we will never take a backseat to anyone. And it needs to end. We're going to keep making the case that we're better off working together to stand on our own 2 feet. And folks, I know that Canada is up for the country come together like never before. And I love about forgetting about these political stripes that I've said from the day I got elected. I don't give two hoots about political stripes. I care about working for communities and people and the companies. We're more united and more determined to stand up for Canada than at any time in my entire lifetime. We made it clear to President Trump and to the world that Canada is not for sale, and Canada will never, ever be a 51st state. But now it's up to all of us here to put those words into action, because the challenge we're facing today is about more than just tariffs or one man in the White House. As Canadians, we need to look at ourselves and make sure we're doing everything in our province to unleash the incredible potential of our province and our country. As I've said, let's focus on what we can do to attract more businesses, make life more affordable, to get houses built, to support businesses. That's what we need to start focusing on. Yes, I'll never stop, poking Donald Trump, but we're going to focus on what we can do, so that no matter who the next president is, or whatever the next crisis, we're able to protect our workers, the services the public relies on, and our communities. Not just from President Trump, but from anything that comes our way for decades to come. We need to build a stronger and more resilient and self-reliant economy. We need to make Ontario the most competitive place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. And we need to do it together, working collaboratively together, working with all levels of government and Indigenous communities. Over the last few months, that's what our government has been doing. We're tearing down internal trade barriers to make it easier to work, buy, and sell across Canada. We've already signed trade agreements with 10 other provinces and territories. And Ontario was the first province in Canada to remove all of the exceptions under the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. And you know what I find ironic? We talked about this. probably 98% of the population didn't realize we even had a Canadian Free Trade Agreement, and I'm glad we brought it to the forefront. So now that can add over $200 billion in economic growth. It can grow the economy anywhere from 4 to 6%, so it's a powerful tool. We're also unlocking Ontario's critical mineral reserves and providing more than $3 billion in support to give First Nations equity and ownership in these important projects. And we're investing over $500 million in the new Critical Minerals Processing Fund. So minerals mined in Ontario are refined in Ontario by Ontario workers. This fund will be a game changer for northern communities, places like Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Sudbury, and the list goes on. We're delivering nearly $30 billion in relief and support for workers and businesses that have been hit hard by the U.S. tariffs. That includes our $1 billion Protect Ontario financing program, which was launched just last week. And we're investing $2.5 billion in our Skills Development Fund to support workers with the training they need to find good-paying jobs. And I just want to thank Minister Piccini. If you're here, we went from $1 billion to $1.5 billion, and it's helping tremendously. And of course, we're continuing to invest record amounts to protect important services like healthcare. You know, our foundation of our healthcare system, our foundation of our infrastructure projects, our education system is one thing, and that's our economy. And we have a strong economy. We'll be able to continue investing in those areas. We're investing nearly $60 billion. Actually, it's probably well over $60 billion to build and upgrade more than 50 hospitals and one big hospital right here in Ottawa, the Ottawa General Hospital, second largest building in the entire country. New medical schools to train more nurses and doctors, and $2.1 billion to connect everyone in our province to a family doctor or primary care team by 2029. And I want to thank Minister Jones and Jane Philpott for that. They're working like a tag team, and they work very well together. As we make these investments, our government is buying Ontario and Canadian-made products wherever we can. Every year, Ontario spends nearly $30 billion on procurement. And over the next 10 years, we're spending more than $200 billion through our plan to build. We're going to spend this money on Ontario-made products like steel, forestry products, and vehicles. And I encourage every municipality here to do the same. Ontario municipalities spend tens of billions of dollars every single year on procurement, on top of what the province spends and what money should be going back into our communities. And I've just stressed to Infrastructure Ontario or our procurement department, we have to buy Ontario #1, Canada #2, no matter what it takes. And I conveyed that message to the Prime Minister. We can't have our great, provinces out east buying steel when they're building ships off Europe. We can't have pipelines being built with U.S. pipes. And we can't have BC buying ferries being built in China. We need to build everything right here in Ontario and in Canada. Many municipalities are already doing this. And I'm going to give a shout out here. I want to thank Mayor Chow in particular for her leadership. Together with the federal government, the province, and the city are spending $2.3 billion on new subway cars for Line 2 in Toronto. And just last week, we announced that these trains will be built through a contract with Alstom in Thunder Bay. So that is amazing how the city like Toronto is supporting the people in Thunder Bay so that Ontario tax dollars are supporting Ontario workers. And I just want to thank you, Mayor Chow. Not too sure where you are, but thank you very much. Last week, our government also announced that Ontario Public Service will be returning to the office 5 days a week. This decision reflects what we're seeing in business across the province. On Friday, Mayor Brown announced that the City of Brampton will do the same. I want to thank Mayor Brown for his leadership and encourage other municipalities to follow his lead. It will help bring the public service in the municipalities closer to the people they serve and will revitalize our workplaces and downtowns across Ontario. But I also want to thank our incredible, and I want to emphasize our incredible public service for their dedication and their professionalism. They're at the heart of our plan to protect Ontario, and we couldn't do it without them, so I'm very grateful to the public service. To support our cities, we're also providing record investments to tackle homelessness, including nearly $700 million each year through our homeless prevention programs, and more than $75 million to end encampments in public parks. That's a big challenge, that one there. We're keeping our community safe by shutting down drug injection sites near schools and daycares. And we're investing almost $550 million to build 28 homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs. We're also providing record support and new tools to speed up new home construction, including strong mayor powers. And it's been great to see so many mayors take up that challenge. Over the last few months, I've had the chance to tour the province, handing out checks from our $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund to municipalities that are making real progress on housing. Just last week, I was in Windsor, presenting Mayor Dilkins with a check for $5.2 million. But what was amazing in these tough times, the city beat its housing target by 213%. He knocked it out of the park. That ball's still traveling out of the park, so not too sure where Mayor Dilkins is, but thank you for your efforts and all the other mayors that are pushing housing. That's incredible progress, and it's what we want to see in every corner of our province. And of course, we've also provided new support for housing through our more than $200 billion plan to build Ontario. The plan to build includes new hospitals, transit, highways, schools, and roads. It's the largest plan to build in Canadian history, and it's an important part of our plan to protect Ontario. By investing in infrastructure, we're making sure Ontario can continue to grow, and we're helping keep our workers on the job no matter what comes our way from President Trump. Through our municipal housing infrastructure program, we've already invested nearly $2.3 billion to support the construction of 800,000 new homes across Ontario. And today, I'm thrilled to announce that we will be increasing this program by another $1.6 billion. This brings the total size of the program up to $4 billion and will support the construction of hundreds of thousands of homes across Ontario. I want to acknowledge Minister Surma. Thank you for pushing infrastructure. I want to acknowledge Minister of Money, Peter Bethamfalvey. I always tell him he's tight as skin on a grape, so you try to get a penny out of that guy, you're on the mat with him. And obviously, Caroline Mulroney, the President of the Treasury. Our province will continue investing in infrastructure and do everything we can to get shovels in the ground. Today, as I said, I had the chance to speak with the Prime Minister and let him know that we want to work together, and this is a big one, to remove the HST for the first-time home buyers. That will stimulate the economy. And look for ways to be even more ambitious so we can lower the cost of building. I'm calling on everyone here to do the same. That means lowering municipal development charges to kickstart construction so that working together across all levels of government, we can keep the dream of home ownership alive in Ontario. And folks, I go back to business days of, half a loaf is better than no loaf. And I know these development charges mean everything. I know Mayor Parrish, she's dropped them. Mayor Del Duca and a few others are considering. But you have two choices. You don't contribute, people won't build homes, and you get nothing. Or you get half a loaf, and we can look at it at a later date. So I'd appreciate if you'd really consider that so we can really stimulate the housing in our province and really put it in a time frame even so we pressure the market to keep moving forward. And again, to the bank, the Governor of the Bank of Canada, we have to lower those interest rates. Doesn't matter if it's a quarter point, a half point, we have to make sure that we lower the interest rate. So all of us are working together. As I conclude, I want to again say how important your partnership and support are as we work to protect Ontario. And there isn't a day that goes by I'm not talking to half a dozen mayors, and I know our minister, Rob Flack, and by the way, I would say he's probably one of the brightest business minds we have down at Queen's Park. He was a private sector guy, he was a president of a lot of large companies, but he's doing an incredible job. We live in the best province, folks, in the entire world, the best country on earth, and I know that we are united in our fight to protect Ontario and protect Canada. I promise everyone here that our government will continue working with you to protect our communities, invest in growth, and make Ontario safer, more competitive, and more prosperous than ever before. I look forward to working with each and every one of you to get it done. I want to thank you again for inviting me here today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Ford. It is now lunchtime. Your name badge includes your caucus. That is where you are headed for your caucus lunch. Remember, the app has all the information you need, including room locations. Dessert will be held in the trade show at 1:15, and then I will see you back here at 1:45.